This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the news of the week for April 20th, 2024. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. The U.S. knew about it. Iran attacked Israel in another unprovoked attack on the small nation. While Israel was able to stop the drone attacks with minimal harm to civilians, the damage is done. This is after Brandon gave the very clear warning without any force with the word don't. Now the nations of the world do not listen to Brandon because they know that he is just an old windbag. Now, according to CNN, they know that they generally cannot be trusted having to purchase those industrial washing machines and all. But when the fake news says something that damages Brandon, it is best to listen to it. According to CNN, a Turkish source said that Iran informed Turkey prior to the attack. Then, Turkey warned America. In other words, we knew about this attack. Was Israel informed in advance? They should have been informed, not because Israel matters any more than any other nation, but because they are an ally. The fact remains that Brandon's handlers knew about the attack. However, in response to the increasing fake news about Israel's right to self-defense, Palestine supporters in America decided to do what Black Lives Matter did at the start. Shutting down highways. When Black Lives Matter really started to get off the ground, they did not start by burning down buildings, even though they eventually did that. They started by blocking highways, and then burning down buildings. As such, emergency responders could not get through. This made the damage even worse. Now Palestinian supporters are shutting down bridges, highways, and airports. Will they also resort to the same degree of violence? They probably will. When you support a genocide and stop fire trucks, I do not have any hope in you having moral standards. Palestine supporters started by taking over college campuses and are following the same pattern as Black Lives Matter.
'Twas never a matter of if, only when.
However, Democrats like Brandon will just find a way to spin this. Just like how he is spinning inflation rates. Brandon spins the inflation rate. Brandon decided to say that inflation was going down because of his actions. Then when people started to point out that the exact opposite is true, Korean affirmative action hire had to do damage control. She was sure to hit just about all of the talking points. She blamed Putin's war and she claimed that her boss was talking about supply chains. The only thing that she did not do was blame President Trump. After all, her boss also claims that his uncle was eaten by cannibals. This is why Brandon needed to stay in his basement during the campaign, and this is the reason why his handlers shoo the press away after every speech. People like him are too dangerous to be heard. However, while the Democrats do not want to hear Brandon speak, there are a lot of other people that they do not want to hear either, such as female athletes. The NAIA Bans Men. The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, or NAIA, has banned men from competing in women's sports. Just 10 years ago, this would not be up for debate. While there are a lot of other things going on in this, such as still allowing men into women's locker rooms as peeping toms, even a small victory is a victory. Representative Tenney has urged the NCAA to do the same thing. The fact remains that these men were mediocre in their sports and transitioned with immediate success in their new division. Now let us move on to other women that the Democrats do not want to hear speak. Women reject birth control. Every drug has side effects. That is a fact of life that the medical industrial complex does not want you to talk about. Either way, women are finally starting to see some of the side effects that birth control has on them. These can include, but are not limited to, nausea, headaches, weight gain, mood changes, higher risk of blood clots, lowered libido, increased blood pressure, irregular bleeding, and certain cancers. When the pill was created, it was sold as a win for women everywhere. As a man, I am not going to pretend to understand what women go through, so I spoke to my mom and had her expertise in writing this. It was sold to women to regulate their cycles, but some of these symptoms are the exact opposite. In her own words, in hindsight, birth control was sold as a way to practice promiscuity without consequences. However, in addition to the loss of money, Democrats are upset because the pill is how they were getting around some of the bans on infanticide. Speaking of which, Arizona improves by 160 years. Arizona reinstituted a near-complete abortion ban from the year 1864. While it is not perfect, it is a big step. This is back when pregnancy was not seen as a curse or a burden. but an opportunity to bring another life into the world. This law is undoubtedly going to be challenged. However, for now, children are protected. And if women are getting off of the pill, citing the side effects, there is very little that abortionists can do to kill children surgically or chemically. However, this is but one of many moral issues that we have to deal with. Bringing sin inside the church. John Lindell, a so-called pastor of Trinity Church, decided that the best entertainment for a men's retreat was a pole dancer. Lindell was confronted by Mark Driscoll and was upset for being called out about it. He claimed that he should have been approached privately. When it is out in the open, that does not apply. The fact that anyone would even consider doing this in a church is not unfathomable anymore. We already have so-called pastor drag queens and much worse. These abominations need to be called out very publicly and without equivocation or mincing words. As the prophet Isaiah wrote, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil." However, I am wondering why neither Driscoll nor any of the men in attendance called out the performance while it was happening. The government and your car. There was a very big push not too long ago to ban the use of gas stoves in New York. This was after the fake news spent so much time telling us that not one regulator was coming for our gas stoves. The beauty of an electric stove is that the government can shut off your power at a moment's notice if your social credit score is too low. We know that in Canada, if you resist the jab, your accounts can be frozen. How long before something like that comes to America?
'Twas never a matter of if, only when.
Now, the new infrastructure bill includes the mandate for kill switches inside of cars. These would activate if the internal camera sends that you are under the influence or speeding. The car could be shut down at a moment's notice with you inside. And if you think that the government will stop at something like this,
I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. From my front porch you can see the sea.
could this have been used during the pandemic to keep people from crossing state borders or violating quarantine?
Yes.
This is something that is more dangerous than many people want to imagine. Speaking of things that people want to cast to the side, government surveillance expanded. 9/11 was a terrible tragedy, but a good crisis never goes to waste in America. George W. Bush used it as an excuse to not only embolden the military-industrial complex, but to sell the Patriot Act. To my knowledge, this has never actually helped to capture a terrorist. However, that is not why they brought it into existence. The reason that it exists is for control. Now the House has reauthorized the surveillance state, and if it passes the Senate, Brandon's handlers will ensure that he signs it. This is not a reauthorization. This is an expansion. However, if you just say the right thing, they cannot get you. Defunding NPR. NPR is one of the most important arms of Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird is here to remind you to never question the official narrative. Now there's a new push to defund it once and for all. Why should the federal government have a network that just spews talking points for the administration? We have a press secretary for that. Even Malay down in Argentina is working on getting rid of their state propaganda networks. The fact remains that this is one more colossal waste of money for us. But it is doing precisely what the deep state wants it to do. However, let us move on to other rights that the deep state does not want you to have. Tennessee teachers unarmed. What do you do if there is a school shooter? When I was in school, we locked the door, turned off the lights, and hoped for the best. What was stopping him from shooting the window that was on our doors and opening it from the inside? My teacher never had an answer. The fact remains that there is only one way to stop a school shooter, and that is to kill him. There are several districts across the country that are arming teachers. If the shooter got past the door, he would have a bullet in his head. However, Tennessee students and parents are pushing back on the idea of arming teachers. Let me be clear. This is not saying that every teacher will have a gun as part of their job. Only those who have already gone through the background checks will be able to carry. Some of these schools also mandate regular training with their weapon. The same type of people who wanted to defund the police are the same people who are scared of teachers defending students. Either way, they do not want to be armed, they do not have to be. Their body, their choice. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. But before you go, on the left I have last week's video, but you may also enjoy the video on the right.